guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be looking at a trunk lock assembly. So if you guys ever bought one of these kits and you had trouble putting it in, I'm sorry I'm putting this video out too late, but if you're considering buying one of these to replace your lock in your trunk or your hatch, go ahead and watch this video first. It should be pretty helpful. This trunk lid is completely bare. It's got no lock in it. It's got no wiring, no nothing. It's just completely empty. So we're going to put the wiring back in here. I'll show you how that connects and how the whole lock assembly connects. So here's all the stuff that came out of here. So let's say you bought a trunk lid like this, or you have a car that's been torn apart, you've just got a bunch of junk here and you're not sure if you have everything or where it goes, then you buy this, one of these lock sets. This long one here is the trunk lock. Uses one of these clips, and there's a gasket. This is the little extension, little tailpiece there, keys. And you don't actually need all of this. I'm not going to use this clip. I'm going to use the factory clip. And I'm not going to use this tailpiece. I'm going to use the factory tailpiece. As you can see, the factory tailpiece is shorter. So factory tailpiece is about 3.5 inches long. No, 3 inches long. This one's about 4.5 inches long. So you have to cut 1.5 inches off of it, round it off, kind of like that one. But because it's got kind of a different shape to it, it's got a bend in it. So that's why I'm going to reuse this. If you're wondering why I'm changing these locks, this one doesn't look terrible. It's got primer on it, but it has blue paint underneath that. And you can see my door locks. They've seen some better days. So I'm just going with all black to replace all these locks. The trunk lid I had off already. It had it torn apart because we shaved the luggage rack and then welded on this turbinator spoiler. So it still needs some paint and body work. Underneath you'll see there's some rust. So we got to do all that, but I want to get this back on the car just so I can drive it here in the near future. I'm trying to get it to Foxtoberfest 2021, so we'll see if I can do that. It's actually in about 8-9 days, so we'll see how much I can get done. All right, well, let's jump into it. I'm going to flip this thing over and we'll start going through all of this. Okay, so before we get too deep into the lock, let's talk about the wiring real quick. The wire is going to have these two plugs and a ground that goes inside the trunk. Now again, this is a 88 GT convertible, so your car may be a little bit different, especially if you have a hatch. I'm not familiar with how the wiring on the hatch routes. Completely different than a coupe or convertible, obviously. But the coupe and convertible, on the driver's side of the car, when you take the panels out in here, hold on, let me get a light on. There we go. So inside behind that panel, you'll see two plugs, and there's a ground that goes. It's right here. It's just a screw here in the middle of the car there. And that's where all that connects. And then it routes up through your trunk lid and then around. I'll show you right here. All right, so this is the driver's side of the car. So my wiring is going to come up through here, route through this channel, and right up into here. Now on here, typically you have brake lights. I've removed that, completely reworked this wiring, and I'll remove the brake lights since I don't have a third brake light. But what you should have left is the license plate lights, the courtesy light that lights up the trunk, and then this square plug here, which is the trunk lock actuator, which is right here. And I'll show you how to test this real quick. I'll do that right now. Let's go to the battery. Alright, so if you want to test this before you install it in the trunk lid, let me just show you how to do that real quick. All you got to do is take a positive lead and connect inside the connector there. Be careful not to lay this across your battery terminals, obviously. Your negative, you're just going to connect to the metal here, because this is grounded to the bracket here, and that serves as the ground. I'm going to connect the other end of the negative to the negative of the battery. And you can just take the positive and touch here, and there you go. So now you know it works. Easy enough. Okay, now to the good stuff. Now, since we've got so much metal here and it's hard to see inside, I'm going to kind of do an assembly outside of the trunk lid completely. Do that over here so you can see exactly how all the pieces go together, and then I'll put it on the trunk lid where you may not have as good of visibility. All right, let's put this together. All right, so here's my old lock tailpiece on there, and the tailpiece just sticks up behind that spring there. So it basically just goes in just like that. So this is going away. I'm going to put this in the new lock. Just like that. Now this lock set is from Max Performance. There's the same company that produced these for Ford back in the day, so should be good quality. Go ahead and make sure your key fits before you go much further, because you hate to do all this and then have to take it back out because the key doesn't work. All right, so you'll see several pieces here. Let's go this route. Let's go ahead and put the gasket on here. Make sure it's turned the right way so the lip is where the lock is going to sit down into. And you'll see some different size openings here. You'll need to just be aware of that as you go to put this into the car. So just match that up, get this on there. All right, very good. So at this point, we can go ahead and slide this into the trunk lid. So just pretend it's in the trunk lid. All right, you see where the opening is for the key, where it's the lowest point there, that's gonna be the bottom of your trunk lid, like towards the license plate. So this piece, you may recognize, typically has a rivet in it. It slides through from the underside of your trunk lid. It's going to slide through just like that, and it's going to go through. I don't want to mess up my gasket here since I'm not doing this on the trunk lid itself, but you'll just push it down until it goes all the way, and you'll see when we put it on the trunk lid how far this can go down. And it has a little gasket on here. Again, like I said, that'll make more sense in a minute. My tailpiece fell off. So next step is going to be to install the next pieces, which are going to be these two pieces. So as you can see, this has a shape in here that would accept this lock, and it's got two little tabs that will keep the lock cylinder itself from turning. So it will be turned. Make sure I keep this right. We turn like this. And now you'll see the lock will not turn either direction. Then this piece, it will slide in from underneath like so, just like that. I'm not gonna push it in all the way, but I just wanted to see kind of how this assembly is together here. Now you'll see on here, there's two little teeth on there. So those little teeth are going to grab into these openings right here when you push this on. You push that on and those teeth will go down into those openings and latch on. So when you're disassembling this, that's one of the important things you'll have to do is separate these underneath here to be able to pull this out. It's a critical component there. And then you'll that'll already be unbolted, obviously, and then you'll drill out the rivet, be able to pull this out, and then you can pull the lock out of the trunk. So once all that is assembled, then the final piece will be able to put in the latch, and it just bolts in with 2 bolts on either side. Right here is you'll have a bolt that will go into this clip nut here. All right, I think that's enough here off the trunk lid. Let's go ahead and put it on the trunk lid. All right, so I would suggest you start with the wiring before you put any of the lock assembly in. So let's get that done first. I'm going to show you the kind of a quick way to do this. There's multiple ways you can do it, of course, but I'm actually going to use a piece of wire loom as kind of like a fish line. Run this through there, and then I'll use it to pull the wiring through. Sometimes it's hard to run this through because you have the pieces that are getting caught up on everything. So let me do that real quick. You see how that goes. All right, so I'm just gonna take my wire loom here and just run it down through this channel. See it kind of coming through right there. Just want to push it on through. Take my wiring harness. Just like that. Basically, I don't want the wire to pull out of the loom too easily. Just pull this through. That piece is done. I'm not going to use this clip yet. I'm just going to leave that there. Like I said, this is probably all going to come back apart to redo the body work on this trunk lid, but I do want to get it in there for now, just so it's not hanging whenever I open the trunk. All right, now the courtesy light goes a little bit further down. It's over here, so I'm just going to feed this through across here. There's that. It kind of clips on and a screw goes in to hold it in place. So this stuff I can just kind of leave here out of the way for now. And we'll get these lights into place in just a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and do the trunk, the lock first. Alright, so like I said, the first thing we're going to do is put the lock assembly in. This goes towards the license plate, or the lower part of the keyhole. So it'll be turned just like this. Sorry you can't see this. But at least you can see the inside maybe through there. Okay, so that is in all the way. And the next piece we're going to do is this, which you may recognize from being right here. See, I'm going to have to pull this back off, and because I got some rust. I just pulled this gasket material off of here today, so I just saw that rust. So all this is probably going to have to come back off anyways. So this is just going to slide in and lock that into place. So when you're sliding it in, like I was just doing, there's these two little tabs that rest on the lock cylinder right here. So you have to make sure those aren't getting caught on that, which I was just doing. So you gotta make sure they get in through that hole, and then this should be able to line up onto the lock and slide into place. Okay, I think we're in. Lock feels pretty sturdy, pretty stable. Everything feels good on the outside, underneath here. So ready for the next piece. I may try to tilt this so you can see in there as I put in the next piece. So you can see the silver clip has gone in. You see both sides on each side of the lock there. So now I'm ready for my next piece, which is going to be this. This wiring out of the way. So it's going to go on just like this. That's it. Now my next clip here, this will go on here like so. Basically lock these two things together. I think it might be in all the way. So that's it. Now we're ready for the latch. The latch you'll see, let me set this down. I think I can hold it just here at the bottom. The latch you'll see as if I can get it in front of the camera. Straight piece here. This is a little bit offset. So basically this just slides over this sheet metal of the trunk lid, this piece here. And you've got to get the tail piece inside this hole here at the same time while you're putting this on. And of course this hole here is going to line up with this clip nut. So it's a delicate ballet. One more thing, your plastic housing here for your wiring harness, where your wireless harness plugs in, it's gonna have to kind of slide in first behind this. Now, I can't hold the trunk lid like this and put all this in with two hands. I'll try. So I'm sliding in that plastic clip first down here at the bottom. And look at there. If I can do it with one hand, you guys can do it with two hands. Okay, so you can see there, I was able to put in with one hand. Now, one thing I didn't do was connect all the get all the wiring in place, so I'm gonna pull it back out to do that. So let me lay this down. Let's get these two wires. One license plate light is going to come across. Which is right there. Another license plate light, which will come up here. And then I just have my solenoid wire that's going to plug into my latch assembly here. Trying to get this the right way. Okay, now I'm ready to install the latch for the final time. And there we have it. And I'm using a 7/16 for this. And I just line these up, I can kind of see where the marks were before on here. So just kind of line it up with that. It should be good for the first run. I'm done. All that's left to do really is put this rivet in here, which I said I'm not going to do right now until like I said, I'm going to have to pull all this back out to do the body work and get this painted. All right, so technically we're pretty much done. One thing you want to do before you get this on the car, before you close the trunk lid for the first time, is make sure the key works. And I can see that the mechanism is turning in there. I don't know if you can see it or not. I see it turning right there. So what you can do is go ahead and run a screwdriver or something in here that's small enough. So now it's locked, turn your key, and it unlocks. Perfect. So that's really all you want. And now we're ready to install this on the car. I probably will not have a video of installing this on the car. There's not a lot of adjustment since it's a convertible. The the hinges just bolt directly into holes they're already drilled in there. So there's no adjustment like there is on a coupe where you can move the trunk lid back and forth and side to side and all of that. This is pretty much stationary as far as adjustments go. I think that's it. Obviously, you can get this lock set on alteredfox.com. I'll put a link down in the summary below. I'll also have a link for these super bright LED bulbs. These are great for your license plate, dash lights, interior courtesy lights. So I'll have a link for those as well. I almost forgot the other adjustment, the up and down adjustment for the trunk lid itself. It's in here. So basically you would just loosen these two bolts, and then this would move up and down, and that'll set the height of your trunk lid. You just want to make sure you have a gasket that's in good condition, because if this is flattened out a lot, lost its shape, this adjustment will be off. So you want to make sure you have a nice fresh gasket, which I also have a link to down below. All right, let's talk about what's coming up next. I think my next video is probably going to be the hood hinges and installing the hood. And I'll put up the I'll put on the hood decal seal that runs across here. What else do we have? There's my hinge seals, hinge cups, calipers that I just painted in my last video. Here's my hinges. These have been blasted and painted. They came out really nice. So yeah, look for those coming soon. Here's my springs that I already cut, the front springs, so that's coming up. And then my caster camber plates should be maybe by the weekend. So all that's coming together really quickly. Hopefully I can get it all on video. I'm not sure if I'll get the brakes on video or not, but it's coming along. Got a long list of stuff here. So that's it. Appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. See ya.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vent